Open heart, open mind, welcome to the Sattva channel, the official dialogue integral platform of the Sattva project. So, namaste to all Dharma friends and fellow Sattvas. My name is Sherab Wong, the co founder of Sattva project. Together with me is another co founder, Sonia Gomez.
Hello, namaste to all our guests, and thank you and welcome for more session of guided meditation. And today we want to thank to our sponsors, Dream Homes, and also Durian FM and Durian Asian FM for their kindness in supporting our channel. And so this is Sherab Wong, the co-founder of Sattva, and we together want to bring Sunim, Venerable Sunim, to one guided meditation in the Zen tradition. And is also one of our advisors. We are very
Yes,
to announce.
we're very happy to announce that today.
Yes, it's a very special day, and I hope you have a wonderful time with Venerable Sunim during our meditation session. And let's welcome Venerable Sunim.
Yeah, we are going to have a very inspiring and hopefully joyful meditation session today, guided by Myong and Sunim. Just sit, the whole world is a single flower. So this session will begin with a Dharma talk, followed by a meditation, and then some question and answers, and then we will conclude it with a dedication prayer. So now let me ask our co-founder of the Sattva project, Sonia Gomez, to introduce Myong and Sunim to us.
Very good. Myong Sunim is usually called Sunim, was born to a Chinese family in Malaysia in 1959. He received his education in the United Kingdom, culminating with an MBA, and worked in finance. Myong Sunim began his meditation practice in 1992 after meeting his teachers and master Seung Sang in Hong Kong. He was ordained as a monk in 1997 and spent the next 16 years in Korea doing intensive meditation retreats. He received Inca, the authorization to teach Konghangs and lead retreats for two Zen masters in 2015. Sunim has over 30,000 hours of hours of meditation experience, teaches mindfulness and Zen in Penang and internationally. His teaching approach combines the wisdom of the ancient teachers with the science of meditation to arrive at ways of practice that are well suited to our contemporary lifestyle. So welcome Myong Sunim, and thank you so much for being with us today in this meditation session.
Yeah, Sunim, the floor is yours.
Good evening. Thank you for the kind introduction, Sonia. And hello to everyone. My name is Sunim, and tonight we're going to explore a little bit Zen practice and also discuss the topic, just sit, the whole world is a single flower. So in the 1950s, there was an American Buddhist called Paul Reps. He's a poet, also an author and an artist. And he wanted to go to Japan, and this was the time of the Korean War. He wanted to see one of his teachers, a Zen master. Now, at that time, you actually couldn't go to Japan because it was a staging post for the Korean War. So anyway, he decided, what the heck, I'm going to go. So he went, and he arrived, and he was standing right in front of the immigration desk, and then he handed in his form, and then the immigration official took one look at it and said, you can't come in now. So Reps didn't say anything in reply. He just took back the form, the form, turned it over, and wrote on it. And he wrote, drinking a cup of tea, I stopped the war, then gave it back to the immigration officer. The guy looked at it and said, we need more people like you in Japan, and let him in. So that may seem a strange thing to write, because the question is, how do you stop the war? By just drinking a cup of tea. So it actually points to something deeper than that. And the immigration officer understood that, fortunately for Rebs. The Dalai Lama has said, peace starts within each one of us. When we have inner peace, we can be at peace with those around us. So Reps was also saying the same thing with his very short, kind of haiku-like poem. Often, we are not at peace with ourselves. We have conflicts bubbling inside of us. Sometimes our mouth fights with our stomach. At the end of a good meal, perhaps, our stomach tells us, oh, that was a lot of food. I am so full, I can't take any more. But our mouth, it still wants more. Oh, dessert. Oh, look at that. That looks so good. Cake. I want to have cake. Just one piece. Then your stomach and your mouth are fighting. Then maybe, usually, your mouth will win. And you eat, you overeat, and then you feel terrible afterwards, bloated and guilty with yourself. But it's not only our body. Often, in our minds, we're not at peace. We criticize ourselves for things that we've done or we're not able to accomplish. And this goes on endlessly. We're often engaged in debate with ourselves in our mind about many things. Shall I do this? Or should I do that? Oh, better not do that. You know what happened the last time. That's how our minds are, as you know. It is only really through meditation practice that we become aware of this inner turmoil. You basically get to see how messy the inside of your head is. It's not such a bad thing, because the good thing about seeing it is that that is the first step to finding inner peace. It's like going to Alcoholics Anonymous. The first thing that you have to do is to say, hi, I'm John, and I'm an alcoholic. So we have to acknowledge and accept the issue before we can even start to do something about it. So this talk is titled "The Whole World is a Single Flower," and this phrase comes from a calligraphy that was done by a great Korean Zen master, Myong, and he lived in the 19th to 20th century. He wrote it using the bud and the petals of a flower. And in writing this, he was expressing the truth of the interconnectedness of all beings, all things, everything. So when you get what he's saying, not only can we perceive the whole world, we can actually perceive the whole universe in a single flower. When we're able to dissolve the walls that we build inside ourselves, these walls that separate us from others, we realize that we're completely at one with the whole universe. That's why many teachers talk about interbeing, interconnectedness, or the interpenetration of all phenomena. It means the same thing. If we attain this point, we can perceive the whole world in the raindrop, the leaves of a tree, the laughter of a child. But this experience can only be arrived at from meditation practice. It is not something that can be explained. In the olden days, when a student went up to a Zen master and asked, what is truth? What is Buddha? What is Dharma? The Zen master would not explain anything. Instead, they might just shout, "Cuts!" or stick up one finger. Or in some cases, they would take a stick and hit the student. Now, this might seem quite perplexing or quite shocking to us now, but it was done to wake these students up to their own minds, their true nature. So, of course, this kind of behavior is not going to be acceptable nowadays. So many teachers don't do that. And instead, they use some form of explanation style teaching to guide a student to the same point. So, now to meditation. So, the working definition that I like to use is this: meditation is the intention to pay attention moment to moment with openness, curiosity, and acceptance, without judgment or expectation. That's really all there is to it. You don't need to sit in a particular pose, wear robes, burn incense, or even have a belief or religion. All you need is you and your breath. Scientific research has shown that you don't even have to believe in meditation to reap the wonderful benefits. The important point is that you just have to practice it. Unfortunately, meditation does not have a very good marketing campaign. Google it and you will see images, many images of men and women sitting serenely, cross-legged in beautiful nature, almost like they're in blissful nirvana. That's the image that many people have in their heads about meditation. But then, when you actually come to do it, you find yourself having all kinds of thoughts. Your mind's jumping all over the place, and you're barely able to be aware of your breath for even a millisecond. Then your experience doesn't match the image you have in your head. When you have expectations like that, then of course it's very easy to get discouraged, and sometimes people just give up. So practicing meditation is very much like going to the gym. It takes some effort to get started and keep going. And you're not going to be able to bench press 80 kg on your first or second visit. It takes time to build up your meditation. The important thing is to practice consistently and regularly. And then after some time, you find it easier to be aware of your breath or whatever technique or object of meditation that you are using. Also, like the gym, if you don't keep training, you don't keep practicing, you'll start to lose your muscle. So it's like practice it or lose it. So when you're at the gym, if you're not sweating, you're probably not trying hard enough, or you're cheating. It's also like that with meditation. You sometimes feel like, oh, it's quite a stretch. It's kind of, takes a little bit more effort today to keep coming back to your breath. That's entirely normal, even for folks who have been meditating for quite some time. Just think of the Olympic athletes. No matter how good they are, they still have to sweat and endure the pain of training so that they can maintain their performance, their peak performance. So that's how we can approach and think about the practice of meditation. Now, one of the really amazing things that research scientists have discovered is that meditation can literally rewire your brain. So that's called neuroplasticity. Neuro for neurons in your brain, and plasticity for the properties of plastic, which is malleable. It's, you can mold it. So your brain structure actually changes with practice. So in addition to having a greater resilience to stress and anxiety, better empathy, better ability to focus, meditation gives us greater awareness. Now, this Professor Richard Davidson, who's from the University of Wisconsin Madison in the States and a longtime student of the Dalai Lama, found that long-term meditators have increased better awareness even when they are not meditating. So meta-awareness is this, greater awareness to be aware of your surroundings, situation, and thoughts each moment, from moment to moment. So there is now actually a ton of research into meditation, and these studies were actually kick-started by the Dalai Lama in the 1980s when he first asked Professor Davidson to look into it. And there are a lot more concrete benefits, scientific benefits to practicing meditation. And all you have to do is practice about 10 minutes a day. That's all. So, often when folks like me, a monastic, talk about meditation, we don't usually talk about the science or the psychological or physiological benefits. So that's why today I just want to share a little bit of that with you. And if you get interested, you can read more about it. Professor Davidson has written an excellent book on it. So shall we try some meditation? So get comfortable. And it doesn't really matter whether you're sitting on the floor, on a chair. If you have a back problem, then lie down. So we will explore meditation using a question, and it's called a huatou in Mandarin. And that literally means word head. It's one of the methods used in the Zen tradition, and it points directly to mind. So one really important thing that I would like to emphasize is that when you ask a question or you raise this question, it's just to ask it without expecting an answer. So occasionally, when meditating, we'll just drop this question in. What is this? So then there's no need to try to respond to it or to answer it. Okay, so please keep this in mind as we do this practice. So let's sit upright, but keep a relaxed posture. Chair on the floor, lying down. Any position is okay. You can even do it standing up. Close your eyes, or if you prefer to keep them open them slightly and gaze with a soft focus at the floor. Take a few moments to settle into sitting. And with each breath, allow the tension from your body to release. Allow yourself to relax. Bring your awareness to your breath, wherever you notice it most. The belly, or the chest, or at the nostrils. And allow your awareness to settle there, feeling the sensation of breathing. At your nostrils, you might feel the slight vibration of the air as your breath flows in and out. Or perhaps your lower belly rising and falling with each in-breath and out-breath. Just so you can feel the sensation of breathing instead of thinking about how it should be. Directly experience your breath. You'll find that your mind will wander off into all kinds of thinking very quickly. And you may get very caught up in your thoughts. When you notice that happening, realize it's perfectly fine and normal. That's just how our minds are. So when you notice it, that is the point that you become aware and mindful again. The important point is what you do next. Try to gently let go of your thoughts and guide your attention back to the sensation of breathing. Notice the rhythm of your breath. Just feel it. There is no wrong way to breathe. How you breathe is fine. That's just your breath coming in, going out. Now, occasionally, ask this question to yourself. What is this? What is this? And just let it rest. Let it settle and sink in. There's no need to try to analyze or answer the question. All you have to do is just ask. Keep coming to your breath. Keep coming back to your breath. Anytime you notice you become lost in your thoughts, come back. Try to avoid judging yourself or having any expectations of how this meditation should be or should not be. We're not trying to get to any particular state of mind at all. We're just practicing being aware of our breath, coming back to it when we get lost in our thoughts, and occasionally dropping the question, what is this, into our practice. Keep coming back. It doesn't matter how long or how short you've been caught up in your thoughts. The key moment is when you notice it. That's when you wake up, become mindful and aware again. And then just try to let go of the thoughts and come back to your breath. 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. Each breath is the opportunity to begin again, to start over. What is this? What is this? Breathing in, know you're breathing in. Breathing out, know that you're breathing out. Remember, it's not a mistake, and you haven't done anything wrong if your mind keeps wandering off. That's just how our minds work. So the practice is to keep coming back to our breath, which is anchored in this present moment. So that's our practice, to notice that we've become lost in our thoughts and images in our mind. Let them go and return to our breath. When you're ready, taking your time slowly, open your eyes and start to become aware of the room and your surroundings. Stretching your arms or legs if you need to. Thank you for your practice. Oh, sorry, I don't think we can hear you.
Thank you so
very
much, Sunim, for a very good guided meditation session. Yeah. Is there any question that I think the audience can ask any question now? But I have a question for you, Myong and Sunim.
Okay.
My friend asked, how can we integrate our Zen practice into our daily living, day-to-day living?
Good question. So the first thing is not to separate it. Because why do we practice meditation? We practice meditation not to become better meditators, actually. We practice meditation so that we can become better at living a good life, a life that has wisdom and compassion and kindness for others. And that's the point of meditation, is not to become like some statue that can sit for hours and hours without moving. It's how you actually use it. I guess you can call it applied meditation if you want. How you can actually use it in your daily life to be to contribute to the greater well-being of our society. So in this respect, if you think of meditation and my life as something separate, you go to some place for practice, and then when you finish, you do something else, which is called your normal life. That makes it, it creates kind of what do you call it, discord. Actually, meditation means paying attention to your life when you're living it. So when you actually pay attention, you are actually living your life. Most of the time, we human beings are not. We are living in our heads. We're living in the past, or we're thinking about the future. but very rarely are we present. So if you want to kind of be able to integrate that and not make any distinction or separate out, then we need to practice. Then when we practice, then wherever we go, we can be more grounded, be more mindful, be more aware. And that, then you realize, actually, life is meditation. Meditation is life. No, it's not separate. You can meditate, you can pay attention to when you're doing anything, right? So paying attention is meditation. Just being aware of what you're doing and aware of, this monkey mind.
Monkey mind. So that you have any question to ask, Sunim?
Yes, I have a question. For example, if people that are seeing us want to start to practice this meditation that you guide here, for example, how should they start? Sessions of 10 minutes and then increase to 15 minutes? Like, can you give us just a small example how could people that don't have any experience in sitting can start this kind of practice?
Sure, that's a very good question.
Thank
When
you.
I first started, welcome. When I first started, that was way back in 1990s, and my teacher used to say 10 minutes, every day 10 minutes, and he was very kind of strong about that. I was not a monk at the time; I was just a layperson. But now in the 21st century, everybody's busy. They've got mobile phones ringing all the time. They've got screens everywhere. So it's not going to be as easy if you make a very tight rule, very hard, very strict, because pretty soon you're going to break it. Like even when I was practicing, I decided, I'm going to do 300 prostrations every day when I was working, and I would do that after work. I did it for about a week. It was tough. Then after that, I started to I'm too busy. I've got too much work. I skipped one night, 2 nights. I tried to make it up. Then after that, I just felt, I felt really guilty about not being able to complete it. So eventually, I just gave up. I said, I don't want to feel guilty. I don't like to feel bad about my practice. So nowadays, I would suggest actually just think about starting with 3 minutes. Just say to yourself, I'll just try sitting for 3 minutes and do it most days. That means you meditate most days. You don't have to say to yourself, I'm going to do it every day. Because the chances are that if you just try for 3 minutes, you find, actually, it's not so difficult. I can go on for more. And if you want to go on for more, go on for more. But even 3 minutes a day helps to build up your habit. And that's where I think that we want to get to. So it becomes a habit that is something that you do almost automatically without really having to think, I've got to squeeze some time in my schedule. Where have I got time? So 3 minutes, I think anybody has 3 minutes. 3 minutes to drink a cup of coffee, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much for Sunim's 3 minutes Zen answer. There's another question asking about, is there supposed to be an answer to what is this, the Hua Tou that you asked us to do just now?
Yeah. So that's the interesting thing about this kind of practice. It's only one form of, one method of Zen meditation, okay? So it's not the only one. But when you ask this question, what it helps you to do is like point, instead of shining your torch outside, because all the time we're trying to look for outside things, okay? Even when we're like want to practice, we're looking for something from outside to get from practice. So when you ask this question of yourself, it kind of turns the light, shines the light inwards. So that's why in Korean they call this kind of practice Chik-chi Shim. I don't know how to say it in Mandarin, but in Cantonese it's Chik-chi Sam. That means directly pointing to
Pointing
mind.
to them. 直指心, yeah.
Directly pointing to the mind. So this asking this kind of question helps you to just directly point to mind, and hopefully, as you practice and practice, your practice will mature and you experience that. So it's not about trying to find an answer. It's just asking the question and letting the question work, letting it settle, let it sink in, let it go into your consciousness. And then one day you'll realize, oh, what is this? So it is just working with the question and not trying to analyze or intellectualize. That's one of the worst things you can do. You can sort of sit for hours like, oh, what is this? You think about this and that, and you can philosophize, but that's not really the point of practice. It's just to ask the question and let it just rest within you. Okay, so sorry, no answer.
So you mean just let it be? I mean, just let
Yeah.
everything as it is and just settling
Yeah.
into that moment. Yeah.
Yes, exactly right.
Mhm. And then Sunim, they say there's a two so-called two different lineages of Zen. One is like with the Gong'an practice, like asking who am I and what is this. Another one will be like they call it silent illumination, just sit. So can you explain to us what are the differences between these two?
Now there are two. Excuse me.
Mm.
That's what you're calling this just sitting, just sit, is the Soto style. Just sit, only sit, and then become Buddha. Then this other school, which is comes, both actually came from China. One is Soto, one is Rinzai. So Rinzai uses koans, and they both actually point to the same thing. Okay, so the difference is that Soto school doesn't use any koans and it's just silent sitting. Okay, and in the Rinzai school, then you use koans and also you use like this huatao, this big question kind of technique. So that's but the essential thing to remember that is only differences in technique. Okay, any form of correct meditation technique will help you, whether it's anasanapati,
Apanasati.
yeah, or mindfulness or insight meditation. Any form of meditation, once you've learned and has been taught correctly, will help you. The key thing is to practice. That's all. That's the only criteria for being able to sort of get a greater understanding of yourself. It's just practice. So techniques are not so critical, but the practice, the consistent and regular practice is. And that's really all there is to it.
Thank you, Sunim. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Sonia has another question. I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
just a simple and practical question. When people are starting, if they want to start this meditation with these 3 minutes you advise, and just slowly and just 3 minutes a day, and just to create the habit, if they begin to feel strong thoughts and begin to have many, many thoughts in these 3 minutes, do you have any advice to give if they begin to have a lot of thoughts during these small 3 minutes?
Yeah, just sit with it, I mean, it's normal. Just realize it's normal. So don't fight with your thoughts. I'm sure you've probably had this experiment where you are asked to imagine a white elephant, then I will say to you, try your hardest in the next 10 or 20 seconds not to think about the white elephant. You can try this experiment after the class, but you can't. To try not to think about it, you have to keep it in your mind. So if your thoughts come, don't try to push them away. Just like in a busy train station, just be like the bystander, somebody who's standing on the platform and just watching these trains come and go. Then when you have a chance, try to notice your breathing again. Sometimes you can even put your hand on your belly if you're aware, using your belly to breathe. So the key point is not to try to fight with your thoughts. Eventually, if you don't, uh, engage with them, you don't fight with them, they just disappear. But the point is, just to be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself. Compassion is actually 360 degrees. It's not just outwards. It's also inwardly directed. So we have to learn to be kind to ourselves, because quite often we are our own worst critic. We give ourselves a hard time. Oh, you're no good. You can't meditate properly. Rubbish. So yeah, don't be so hard on yourself. If your mind goes crazy for 3 minutes, fine. That's three minutes of thinking meditation.
Crazy meditation.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. Thank you very much.
Sure. You're welcome.
And then Sunim, some people might think in their mind that can we just sit here and make the world better? Can we just heal the world or achieve global healing and world peace by just doing Zen meditation?
Not just Zen meditation, any kind of meditation, because
Mm.
world peace starts with you inside. If you stop fighting with yourself, you can stop fighting with others. Then that's the key to world peace. It doesn't come from outside. So I have a funny story about this.
Sure.
A long time ago, my teacher, he was in America, and our school is founded in America when he was there teaching. So he went there in the 1970s, and one time he said, many world leaders or politicians, they all talk about, I want world peace, world peace, world peace. And he said, what they really mean is that I don't want to lose my good position. I don't want to lose my power. I don't want to lose my status. So world peace doesn't come from outside. You can look at all the places in the world where they've had conflicts for hundreds of years. Middle East, some parts of Africa, and some parts of Eastern Europe. So it doesn't come from outside. It has to start within us. If we are at peace with ourselves, our mind is at peace, then we can be at peace with others, and that can grow. Now remember what the Dalai Lama said. So meditation, practice. I mean, that's not the only thing, but it certainly does help for us to become a more peaceful and more caring society, because that's very lacking in the world right now.
Thank you, Sunim.
Yeah.
And then any advice from you, Sunim, during this era of pandemic? Our mind is constantly in the state of fear and worrying and panic and all these things. How to make our mind calm and at ease during this pandemic?
That's a good question. I think most important now is to practice kindness. Kindness to ourselves and kindness to all beings. Because if we don't, humanity will not survive in the long term. So kindness, altruism, that means doing something for others, not for your out of your own not for yourself, but doing it, selflessly for others. I think kindness is very, very important now. It's also, again, very severely lacking because we are so self-centered with our, with our anger, desire, ignorance. Yeah. So I think practice kindness. Kindness, okay, is not a state of mind. It's actually an ability. That means it's an activity. Not that, it's an ability that you can actually practice and improve on.
Thank you, Sunim, for very meaningful answers and very inspiring meditation session together with us. Thank you,
Sure.
Sunim, for your guidance and advices. Let us all dedicate a merit to all sentient beings. May Sunim, could you please lead us in saying some dedication prayers? Yeah.
Usually we just recite the 4 great vows.
Yeah.
So sentient beings are numberless. We vow to save them all. Delusions are endless. We vow to cut through them all. The teachings are infinite. We vow to learn them all. The Buddha way is inconceivable. We vow to attain.
So beautiful. Thank you so much. Really inspiring. Thank you. Thank you very much.
The Zen session is infinite. So Sunim, we vow to invite you more. Come to teach us in our future online events.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much. Really, we are very appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you for founding Sattva and for all the work that you do to help others. That's really wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for your precision, Sunim.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Sunim, and thank you everybody who is watching and listening. And may you have a good night or a good day. Thank you.
And may all beings benefit from this session. Thank you very much.
May all be well and happy. Thank you, Sunim.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Good night. Good morning.